You ever notice how some people just can't stand seeing someone else happy, especially when they're not the ones in charge? Let me tell you, the night those red and blue lights started dancing across the Marina water, I knew exactly who was behind it before a single badge even stepped on my dock. That's just how things go in Sunset Shores. And if you've ever tangled with a neighborhood Karen, well, you already know the game. So there I was, tightening the last cleat on my boat moon, reflecting off the water. Quiet, almost peaceful, except for the sound of 2 sets of boots coming my way. The taller cop, Martinez, did that official cop throat clear and goes, "Excuse me, sir. We received a call about trespassing and unauthorized docking here at the Marina." He didn't have to say another word. My eyes flicked up, and there she was, backlit by the police car, Patricia Hendress, or as everyone in Sunset Shores called her, Karen. Arms folded, platinum blonde hair, lit up like a warning sign, chin tilted so high she could have sniffed the clouds. But hey, let me back up a sec, because unless you've dealt with a Patricia yourself, you don't know how these folks operate. 3 months earlier, I'd bought the house of my dreams right on the water. Big porch craftsman columns, sunsets that made you believe in God again. Yeah, it was one of those places. But the real gem, that wasn't the house. No, the deal came with something even better, a 51% stake in Sunset Marina right next door. Most people want lakefront views. I got the keys to the dock. Thing is, this wasn't just any marina. Frank Morrison, the original owner, built it 40 years ago, back when all you could see around here was open land and a couple fishing shacks. He survived hurricanes, greedy developers, and a never-ending parade of HOA presidents, each one thinking they could run the show. But Frank, he was sharp. He kept majority control right up until the day he died. And when his lawyer called me, I didn't even blink before signing. Now, you'd think owning the marina might make you popular in a waterfront community, but that's before you meet someone like Patricia. 7 years running the HOA, and she acted like she owned every pebble from here to the mailbox. Parking spot. She decided. Shutter color, her rules. Access to the marina. Only if you were on her good neighbor list, which as it turned out, I wasn't. My very first week, she appeared on my doorstep, a fake friendly smile, plastic-wrapped basket, and a 3-inch thick HOA binder highlighted like a legal textbook. "Welcome to Sunset Shores," she said, all sugary sweet. I took the liberty of marking the most important rules, especially watercraft regulations. Sections 4 through 17. I barely got my boots off before she was rattling on about compliance. I figured I'd get around to reading the thing after unpacking big mistake. Patricia liked to be noticed, and she definitely didn't like to be ignored. Then came the first real showdown. I'd finally gotten my little 24-foot cruiser polished up, nothing fancy, but she was my pride and joy. The second my trailer hit the ramp, Patricia materialized out of nowhere, clipboard in hand, her eyes sharp as broken glass. "Excuse me," she barked. "You can't launch that boat here without HOA approval." I told her straight I lived at 47 waterfront property, came with marina rights. She flushed so fast I thought she might explode. "Doesn't matter," she snapped. "All boats have to be board approved. That's the rule." So I smiled, couldn't help it, and let her know I didn't just have marina rights. I owned the majority stake. You should have seen her face, like someone pulled the battery out of her robot body. But Patricia, she didn't lose easy. Within a week, my inbox was full of HOA emails with subject lines like "Unauthorized vessel threatens community standards and property values at risk." Neighbors started strolling by the marina, just as I was working whispering about declining standards. Then came complaints to the city, even the Coast Guard. Every time I sent back the marina deed and ownership docs nice and polite, did it slow her down? Not even a little. Instead, she doubled down. Took pictures from every angle, said my boat was unsightly. Measured the dock with a tape, said I was 3 inches over. Hired a so-called marine consultant who turned out to be her nephew with a fishing license and a bad attitude. If she could weaponize a garden gnome, I'm convinced she would have. The whole thing blew up at the next HOA meeting. Patricia at the podium waving a PowerPoint called the boat problem a clear and present danger. Dramatic red arrows, blurry photos, captions like eyesore at Dock 3. She talked for 45 minutes straight, neighbors' eyes glazed over. When she was done, I plugged in my phone, switched the projector, and put up the original Marina deed. Just to clarify, I said the Marina is a private entity majority owned by me. The HOA's got no say here. It's in the paperwork. Anyone want to see the tax records? The room got real quiet, real fast. You could almost hear her blood pressure ticking up. Patricia. She lost it. "This is impossible," she shrieked. "I've managed this Marina for 7 years. You can't just walk in and claim it." I shrugged. "Didn't claim it, Patricia. Bought it. You can check with the county." 2 days later, I get back from a sunrise cruise, and what do I see? Police lights flashing at my dock neighbors, peeking through blinds like it was the OJ chase. Martinez and his partner, Officer Chen, come down the pier. I explain, show them the docks. Chen's trying hard not to laugh. Martinez finally says, "Ma'am, this gentleman owns the Marina. You can't trespass on property you legally own." Patricia's jaw drops, then she cranks up the pitch. "But the HOA has rules, standards." Chen doesn't flinch. "Ma'am, calling 911 for a non-emergency. That's a misdemeanor." Boom. Just like that, her voice vanishes. And wouldn't you know it, word gets around fast. Suddenly, neighbors who'd been scared to cross Patricia are telling me their own horror stories. Tom, from Unit 12, Patricia tried to ban his kayak because it was too yellow. Sarah from 33, she had to write an essay just to get a boat slip. These weren't neighbors, they were survivors. That's when I decided enough is enough. I called an emergency Marina meeting. Place was packed. Some people looked nervous, but mostly they looked tired of being bullied. I stood up and told them my plan. First, upgrades, new cleats, better lighting, real safety equipment. Second, slip assignments, fair and transparent, no more book club politics. Third, and most important, no more nonsense. No aesthetic committee, no beauty contests. If your boat floats and you respect your neighbor, you're in. I could see Patricia way in the back seething. When I opened the floor, she jumped up. "This is a coup," she screamed. "You're destroying what makes Sunset Shores special." But before I could answer, George, the oldest guy in the room, Vietnam vet, steady as they come, stood up. "Patricia, the only thing being destroyed here is your stranglehold. We're tired of living in fear of your violation notices." The applause just rolled over her. One by one, people aired the laundry, the Great Garden Gnome ban of 2019, the mailbox color war of 2020, the bird feeder fiasco that drove 3 families to move. When the dust settled, I stepped up again. From today on, the Marina operates independent of the HOA. And there's a new rule: anyone caught harassing, photographing, or falsely reporting Marina users loses access. For good. Patricia's lawyer tried to talk her down. She ignored him, threatening lawsuits and news crews. That's when Michael, the HOA vice president, finally spoke. "I move to hold a vote of no confidence in our president for misuse of authority." 17 hands went up, 2 against, 1 abstention, her sister. Michael kept going. "I move we formally recognize Marina independence and Mr. Johnson's authority." Passed unanimous. Patricia's jaw locked. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, but not before hissing, "This isn't over. You'll regret this." Yeah, she really said that. The next morning, I put up new Marina rules, clear, fair, focused on safety, hung a fresh sign at the gate, Sunset Marina, privately owned and operated. Within 2 weeks, what shows up in my mailbox? An application from Patricia Hendress herself. She'd bought a tiny sailboat trying to slither back in. I flipped through her file, false police report, harassment complaints, the whole circus. Stamped it denied. Wrote underneath, "Due to documented harassment, this application cannot be approved. Decision is final." She showed up at the office, screaming across the water, "You can't do this to me. I am Sunset Shores." I barely looked up. "Patricia, You're welcome to dock at the public marina 6 miles north. I hear they love compliance. That was it, the last conversation we ever had. Her legal stunts drained her dry. The court fees, the fines from her 911 call, even the city charged her with a misdemeanor. She had to sell her house, move to a landlocked suburb in Arizona. At her last HOA meeting, she just sat there while the new board overturned every petty rule she'd ever written. I spent that night at the marina, screwing in a little sign at my slip private. Owner operated. The sunsets came back, kids started fishing again, neighbors actually smiled. And Patricia's infamous 911 call, instead of ruining me, it exposed her. The headline in the local paper said it all. HOA president's overreach leads to downfall. $3,000 in fines, 40 hours community service, banned from the board, reputation in shambles. Last I heard, she was still muttering about one phone call like that's all it was. But we all know, don't we? Sometimes it takes just one push to bring a whole fake kingdom down. So let me ask you, where's the line between enforcing the rules and becoming the neighborhood tyrant? Ever had a Karen in your life try to take over? Drop your wildest HOA story or your thoughts on what real community means in the comments. And hey, if you believe in justice, respect, or just a little peace and quiet by the water, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from.